Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Goddesspreneur podcast. And today I have a special guest. Her name is Latoy Fowler Kellum.
Yes.
Yes, I'm glad I
Hmm.
pronounced that right. I've been saying it
Yes,
over
you
and over to
did.
myself a few times. Okay, pronunciation was great. I
Hmm.
appreciate you coming here with me today.
Well, thanks for having me. I so much appreciate it.
I really like to dive into this conversation. So
Hmm.
let's start about your upbringing. I'm curious about what shaped you and your ambition as a multi-business owner and creator.
Oh, my upbringing is kind of complicated. Okay,
All right, let's get
so
into it.
yeah, so I was adopted at the age of about 8 because my mom wound up killing my dad, and me and my brothers was displaced.
The chills that just ran through my
Yes.
body as you start. I did not expect that. Whew.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize like what I've been through because I don't wear it.
The brightness, you don't look like what you've been through.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's that darkness that we've experienced that allows us to be the
Hmm.
light for others. And
Yeah.
I love that for you.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, so when me and my brothers was displaced, we were living with my grandmother. But eventually my dad's aunt wound up adopting us, so we want to get split up into the system, which I appreciate. From there, I stayed busy joining art clubs, a lot of different committees.
That's
I
where the
stayed in
creativeness
sports.
came from.
I stayed in sports, cheerleading, basketball, volleyball,
Okay.
even played football with the homies.
That's why your style is so versatile. I'm like, okay, I've seen this girl do some basketball shoots and stuff like that, like athletic
Mhm.
wear. And I'm like, okay, Miss
Yeah,
Model,
so
Miss
I grew up like a
Versatile.
tomboy. I have five
Right.
brothers, even though I was only raised with two of them. Two of them lived in Alabama. Rest in peace to one of my brothers, and the other one, I don't know where he's at, unfortunately. But the resilience come from having to overcome a lot of things alone. A lot of people, um, again, don't know my story because I don't broadcast it.
I get
And
it.
at first, I'm not gonna lie, I used to be kind of ashamed of it
Mhm.
because I've been in friendships and relationships where they have used my past against me, saying that, oh, I'm gonna wind up like my mother. I've even had family members say that to me before. So me being who I am and wanting to prove people wrong,
That
it
resilience,
yes,
that
it made
relentlessness.
yes, it
Hmm.
made me push forward. And I'm glad that whatever God put in me, that He put in me, because a lot of people don't come out of that. A lot of
Yeah.
people wind up being statistics, and I wasn't one of them. Thank God.
That God, you weren't a product of your
Yeah.
environment,
Mhm.
and so many of us we don't understand that we don't have to stay in the mud that we come from. We can grow flowers from it,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
I'm glad that I was here to be able to give you your flowers, even though you give them to yourself daily by being that example.
Yeah, I definitely try to, even though, as women, sometimes it's hard to give ourselves those props.
Yes, it
Look,
is.
I'm like, because I'm humble, I don't like to, and I need to like just completely wipe this thought out of my mind of trying to people please and make other people comfortable, but it's not my responsibility to make people comfortable in their own insecurities. I had to learn that.
If you try to continue to make people comfortable, they'll never grow.
Hmm.
We grow the way we did because of the discomfortable
Yeah,
situations that we
exactly.
experience, and our
Hmm.
experiences shape us. So
Hmm.
sometimes the best thing you can do is be there with God, have conversations with Him
Hmm.
about them, and
Oh
be
yeah.
be understanding of yourself and your
Hmm.
value, and keep living in that example, because you never
Hmm.
know who you may motivate
Yeah.
by being that example.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you shrink yourself, you never know who else's life you may be minimizing.
Exactly. Exactly. And I definitely had to learn that, um, because I do have people that come out the woodworks and be like, "Oh, you motivate me," and I'll be like, "How?"
Hello, me over here watching on social media all the time. Every time I scroll and I see the aesthetics and the just your elevation period and the consistentness. And I know we go through challenges as
Hmm.
entrepreneurs and business owners.
Hmm.
And that consistency, it's so motivating.
And it's so hard at times. But again, do not look to anybody else when you're trying to do something for yourself and your brand, because you'll get caught and just stuck in a moment
Yes.
where you should have moved along from.
It adds to the essence of procrastination, and
Yes.
it's so easy to get into it and overthinking and
Mhm.
everything. So
Mhm.
with that said, what was the idea for your decor business? I love to hear more about it, because it's so different, and I think it really sets you apart from a lot of entrepreneurs today.
Thank you. So let me first say when I explain my business to people, sometimes they do look like, oh, this is different. But then I'm like, yeah, it's different good.
Different.
What motivated me to start the business was, for one, I wanted to break a generational curse because you have so many family members that you tell a dream to and they become dream killers. And, oh, you need to get a job. That's not realistic. And I'm like, no, it is realistic. And I'm going to have something to leave my kids when I leave this earth. Even if they wind up selling it or not even wanted to
Giving them
work.
that chance.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But again, I grew up in art clubs and creative clubs. And I also, being, having an incarcerated parent, I was a part of a lot of groups for children with
Okay.
incarcerated parents. And I went to a lot of different summer camps and after school programs. So that creative side of me always,
Yes.
stayed there. I work with my hands a lot. I always have. So when the business came about, it was on a humble. Like, my daughter was turning 11 years old, and Cleveland is behind when it comes to luxury event decor. And I couldn't find anyone at that time to help me with my daughter's party. So I was like, I'm gonna do it myself.
Right.
And once I did it and posted the pictures just to say happy birthday to my daughter, people like, who did this?
Right.
And I'm like, I did. They like, you do this for a living? I'm like, no, but I got you. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, when I first started, I was undercharging, barely charging,
We
didn't
all
know what
start
to do,
somewhere.
right? So it started from there. And the more I got into it, the more fulfilling it felt.
Right.
And the more right it felt. So I was like, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is the path that God has led me on to do and to complete, because I am a habitual non-completer, meaning I start so much
That's
things
the creative
and
in
don't
you.
finish.
That's the
Yeah,
creative.
because I have so many ideas.
Hmm.
And at one point, I was working three different businesses of my own before I was like, you know what, I need to focus on one and then build this up and then revisit the other businesses because they had potential. One was a bag e-commerce bag store called
Okay.
Bag Society, where I sold like different types of bags, even
I love
designer
that
bags.
branding. Yes.
And then my other business is Toy Box Property Management, where I was getting into the short-term and long-term rentals. And I still have those businesses, but again, I'm like, I can't do all of this.
No
Like I.
wonder I resonate with you so well. We have very similar backgrounds. I understand wholeheartedly where you're coming
Yeah.
from because it's hard to, when you have a passion for being a creative, it's
Mhm.
hard to niche that down.
Yeah,
It's a
it
passion.
is. It
Every day you
is.
wake up and you want to see what you're capable of. You
Mhm.
don't want to say, oh, I don't want to start this because I may not finish it. Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Why not? You're
Mhm.
adding skill sets under your belt, and that's why you're able to do what you do and bring something different to the table in your business
Mhm.
because it's an umbrella.
Mhm.
It's not just that one thing. It's that
Mhm.
one thing that allows me to do multiple.
Again, I wish I had a team or I can pull people in that have similar visions as me, because even with the property management company, I'm like, I can actually hand this over to somebody to run. But finding that is, it's like a needle in a haystack.
I understand when real estate and property management is always going to be valuable.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. And that was my thought process with, again, it all boils down to my children,
Right.
all about them having something to stand on, regardless of what they decide to do, when
Cause
they graduate. Because my daughter's getting ready to graduate high school. And I'm
and
just like, she's a majorette. So she's into dance. But I'm like, if you need something else, not saying don't do dance. I want her to do dance. I'm even
right.
sending
But
her
investments,
auditions.
keep
Yeah,
investing. Just
investments.
because
Exactly.
you're interested in this doesn't mean you can't still invest in this.
Exactly. And that's what I want to get them ready for, because they don't teach us about
They
money in
didn't teach us
school.
about this, and
Exactly.
because we know that, we kind of owe it to our children to do the
Mhm.
same.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like, cause my family didn't talk about money. Money
No.
wasn't for the kids. Money,
Yeah,
those conversations
when you
wasn't
struggle
for the
coming up,
kids.
it really wasn't even a comfortable conversation,
Mhm.
and parents didn't want to have that because they
Mhm.
didn't have anything to leave us.
Mhm.
So we have to start having comfortable money conversations in order to actually have generational wealth.
Exactly. And that's what makes change, and change is good.
Yes. So a lot of changes have happened in your life. I
Mhm.
see that you're a mom, a wife, a
Mhm.
rapper, entrepreneur, and so much. It
Mhm.
seems like a balancing
Mhm.
act. So how do you manage to stay consistent and focused with all these roles?
So I'm not gonna lie, I have taken hiatus from acting and rapping to get my business off the ground. So many people still ask me if I do it. I even had someone hit me up that I used to work with previously in acting, saying that she has a bunch of things that she's wrote, and do I still act? She got a role for me already. And I'm like, yeah, I do, but it's just finding the time and just the mental capacity for it right now.
Right.
And it is a balancing act. Sometimes I want to pull my hair out, but through those days, I find myself, I tell myself to just stay positive. Everything's going to work out as long as you keep on moving and doing the things to help elevate you, the family, the business, everything. Everything is going to work out. So it's that positive thinking that keeps me going and going and going. But some days, I'm not gonna lie, I cry in my car. I
Yes,
cry
we've
at the
all been there.
business. I be
Being an
like,
entrepreneur is not for the weak. It's
yeah,
not for the
it's
weak.
not. So yeah, so planning. I will say that planning my life out helps me keep on track of things.
Are you a routine person?
No,
Hmm.
no, I hate routines, and I hate being predictable.
Okay.
But I will say in my business life, it has to be like planned because I need to stay on task. And I'm one of those people, because I have a creative mind, I have 1,000 things on my brain at once. And I'll start working on one task, and then I'll jump to another one without finishing the last
I
one.
totally
So I
understand.
have to write things down. And I know a lot of people use the electronics and stuff, but I'm still kind of old school. I
Got
write
to keep
things
my
down.
notebooks.
Yeah, I write
Spelling
it
it out, it
down.
helps with the muscle memory of
Yeah.
memorizing it. When you type
Yeah.
it out, it's just math.
So I'm married, and my husband takes some of that stress off of my back.
Right.
Um, but managing it all, every day is a new challenge. Every day is like, oh, I need to get this task done, but I also need to get some sleep.
Yeah.
Or I need to get this task done, but my kids have some stuff going on. I'm a very active parent. I have to show up to football games for both my daughter and my son. So, yeah, every day is a challenge, but I will say to people to stay focused. Don't let a minor issue or a setback throw you off of the things that you're trying to get done, whether it's a goal, a task that needs to get done for yourself, or just even doing self-care,
Right.
because a lot of times we get so caught up on what needs to get done and then just forget about ourselves.
What we do is only as good as how we feel. We are the
Mhm.
entrepreneurs. We are the machine. So
Mhm.
I definitely understand.
Exactly.
It took me a
Because
while.
I'm terrible at that. I'm not gonna lie. This is like the first day I've done my hair.
As well.
Look, I have faux locks in my hair since September. I'm like, it's good. Get up and go. Get up and go. But
Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's like that. But I want to you to honor the same thing that I will next year. As the influencers that we are, we have to continue to pour that self love into each other,
mhm,
no matter how much our schedules demand us to not have that time for ourselves.
mhm,
We are a representation of so much, and we
mhm.
have to go into that next year continuing to be that.
Yeah.
But I love that for you, the balance of all of this. You're a very balanced person.
I try. I try.
um I want to revisit something. When
mhm,
you were talking about your business and how
mhm,
you didn't really see the standard of luxury for your daughter's party that you wanted,
mhm,
when it comes to luxury aesthetics,
mhm,
what do you feel is your style, and what do you
mhm.
feel is the requirement in for luxury? What is luxury mean to you?
Luxury is details.
Yes.
A lot of people in this business forget that. My personal style, I like clean looks,
Mhm.
looks that's loud. When you look at it, it's a big statement. When people see it, they feel happiness, they feel joy, they feel like, oh, I'm that girl.
I see that in your
Yeah.
branding. It's
Mhm.
very bright. It's very fun.
Mhm. And I use the color lavender for my business colors because of how that color. Well, I looked it
Hmm.
up on Google, but those are one of those colors that incites joy in people, that
Yeah.
incites happiness and good feelings. So I went with that color purposely, even though
I
lavender.
love the intention.
Thank you, but
Hmm.
lavender is not even my favorite color.
What is your
Actually,
favorite
red
color?
is.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, but I
Okay.
love pink too. But
Blue is my favorite color, but
hmm
as I know, being in feminine branding, I bring my pinks out. It
yeah,
it brightens up the energy
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. I'm like, and red is so bold.
Yes.
So I'm like, but I couldn't do my business in red. Like it was.
Actually, I did something different.
hmm
I had a branding client this year,
hmm
and I did her whole branding in red.
Really.
I switched it to a darker maroon towards the
hmm
warmer winter season
hmm
to warm it up a bit, but
hmm
it was very bright
It
red
worked.
and it worked. It
hmm
was it was standing out from
hmm
everyone else in the market. So
Yeah,
when it came
yeah.
to her social media branding and all of that, and to be honest, I saw the trends changing. I
hmm
even saw how the Marc Jacobs red purse made a comeback, and a
hmm
lot of even Cardi B's maternity photos. I'm like,
hmm
why are we
Yeah,
standing off from these colors sometimes? Sometimes
yeah.
we need a bit of pop, especially with now that people are starting to understand or idolize luxury more, so they're
hmm
bringing more minimalist tones to it.
hmm
But
Yeah.
they gotta know you gotta balance it with a pop of
Yeah,
color.
because you can still have luxury with color.
Hmm.
I love colors. I personally hate when my clients just come and say, "Give me black, white, and gold." Like, oh, you need some pop of color in there somewhere. But aesthetically, luxury is the brand. And it runs for, well, when I say that inside my business, is things like little things like ironing your tablecloths or
Right.
steaming your backdrops or, and I'm very particular, so I don't like not one balloon out of place.
If you saw the before and after pictures of those little differences, you would see why it is
Exactly.
such in the
Yeah,
details.
and I'm a part of a lot of different Facebook groups that's
Hmm.
in luxury decor. And you'll be surprised how many people come on there and say, "Hey, give me some opinions about my decor." And again, everyone starts somewhere. I have to start somewhere, but they're not paying attention to the details, and that what sets my business apart from a lot of people here in Cleveland, because aesthetically they don't pay attention to the details. They get an order from their client and they give the client exactly what they asked for
What they asked
without
for.
putting in the extra work
If
to
the
make
client
sure it's
knew
together.
what exactly was needed to give the aesthetic that they desired, they would have done it themselves.
hmm
So sometimes you have to trust that they came to you for
hmm
your creative professionalism.
hmm
So give them a combination of both. Meet them in the middle. And I'm glad
Yeah.
that you understand that, because sometimes the client will tell you, I just want black, white, and silver. And they just
hmm
didn't understand what it could have looked like if it just had that one
hmm
focus color to top
Yeah.
it all off.
Now we can make it look good with those
Hmm.
colors. I just like the funner events. But yeah, because of course black and
I
gold
mean,
is elegant.
it's of course it's standard,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's it's just about creating something so memorable and
Mhm.
different. These days we scroll, we drive, and we see so many different things that are
Mhm.
so similar. If you really want to stand out and you really want to be remembered,
Mhm.
make sure that there's always a pop. And they're not in our industry, so
Mhm.
they don't know.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have to communicate with them like, hey, I know you see this a lot and you
Mhm.
don't see this a lot, but this is the reason why.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love the clients that I have been having because with me and over the years, I've built my name up and my reputation up where they know if they come to Beyond the Toy Box, what they're going to get. And what they're going to get is a luxury pop. hmm
Yes. A lot of the times I'm sure they say, it don't just do your thing. I want
hmm
you to make it
I
look
love
how it's
those.
supposed
Those
to
are
look.
my favorites.
Of course, those are the
Yeah. If
favorites.
they tell me their vision and they be like, do your thing. Yeah, I love those the most.
I
hmm
really love that for you. And I'm excited to see more of your business and some of your creations that's coming up in the next year.
Oh,
But I
thank you.
want to talk more specifically to some of our viewers who look up to you. if there was anything that you can tell them to keep them motivated along their journey, what would
Mhm.
you tell them today?
I would tell them to stay true to self. Keep your dreams to yourself. And that might sound crazy
I
because
understand what you're saying.
everyone needs someone to lean on. But the problem with that is when you tend to tell people your dreams, especially people with small minds, they will never get your vision. And that turns
They'll
into
project their fears and their
exactly,
insecurities and
exactly,
things into your vision,
exactly.
and we don't see through the same eyes.
Mhm.
Even if we can take this journey together, you'll see this room from that perspective, and
Mhm.
I'll see it from this one. It doesn't mean either one of
Exactly.
us are wrong. It just means that we're
Mhm.
individuals,
Yes. And I would tell them don't be scared to take those risks.
right?
No one ever made it big not taking any
Risk.
risks.
And
That
nobody ever made it big without failing a few times at
exactly.
first, too.
And wait a minute, but I look at failing as, of course, lessons,
Mm-hmm.
but I look at failures also as growth
Mm-hmm. A
because
system of consistency.
exactly because those failures teach you what you need to know to move forward
Yeah.
so you won't make those same mistakes again,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I will also tell them to steadfast. I don't know if everybody don't believe in God, but most people believe in a higher power. Make sure you stay prayed up or keep your faith big
Mm-hmm.
in whatever religion that you are
Yes, whether you're
into.
religious or spiritually
Mhm.
grounded, make sure
Mhm.
that you're not the biggest thing that you believe in, because there's
Yeah.
something always bigger than you.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah. So make sure you just stay true to yourself. And I know it gets hard because it still get hard for me, and I've been in this thing since 2018. Well, with the rapping and stuff, that's way back when, like 2006. But
Okay.
I've been in this for a long time, and it takes a lot of um, self. What's the word I'm looking for? Self motivation.
Yes.
It takes a lot of self motivation to keep you going because you're not going to always have those people around you that's going to give you your flowers or big you
Mm-hmm.
up or push you forward. And a lot of times you're going to feel like you're alone in your mission. And that's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to
It's
feel all
okay.
those feels. Don't suppress them. Just get through it and move on.
Acknowledge your emotions
Hmm.
so that you can heal yourself and truly enjoy what you want to do with your life.
Exactly. Hmm.
So, with that, where do you see yourself? What do you envision you doing with this creativity and this joy for yourself? What do you plan to do with it?
What do I? And it's crazy because it's not even just about me. And I know we just talked about
Yeah, we
how we
talked
need
about the
to,
kids and everybody else, but
right?
I want to know about you. What
um.
what do you want to bring about from your life? If I could say that I may see one thing,
Mhm.
freedom, more
Mhm.
freedom.
Yeah.
You, even though you have a lot of freedom as far as being an entrepreneur and when and what you do as far as routine, aren't we all looking for a day where we don't have to work so
Yes.
hard
Yes.
to
And that is definitely a motivation of mine. I'm like the money is not even my motivation. It's the freedom that comes
yeah.
with it. I love to travel. I like to expose my kids to different things, and I like to have that freedom to be able to be present in their lives. That was always important to me. So that's one thing that I eventually want for myself, even though it's in the back of my mind because I know I still have a lot of work to do.
Right.
But it's there. And I also want to feel that feeling of self. Woman, I always say God wants me to be a self-made millionaire because He won't let me win the lottery. He won't let me come up on no money. But yeah, I want to feel that success that lets me know like you worked hard for this. You did things that people didn't believe that you could do, and you did things that people tried to get you to stop doing. Um, but I want to be able to be like, I did this. And I want my kids to be able to look at their mom and be like, despite what you've been through, in your upbringing and even in your adult life that you had enough resilience to go after your dreams and actually manifest them. That's like a big goal of mine.
I
Oh,
love
it
that.
makes me
I like
happy
that.
because
I'm happy to
yeah.
see you on the way to what you want. And I see you doing that now because if it was all about the money, you'd be on the sets, you'd still be rapping, you'd still be chasing the money. But
Mhm.
you're niching down to where you feel comfortable and where you feel
Mhm.
happy in life. And
Mhm.
you're still that entrepreneur who's going after it relentlessly. And I'm proud of you. I know that so many other people who are watching this are going to be proud of you as well. And we just wish you the best along your journey.
I appreciate that.
I
I'm
appreciate
like, it's still a long way to go, and I know that. But again, just me being in it, I'm proud of myself for even taking the leap to start. Because to all the people that's watching, all you got to do is start. That's the
everything else, it
yeah.
gets easier from there. I promise
Mhm.
you. Obstacles, everybody has obstacles, but
Mhm.
once you actually take that start and stop procrastinating and believe in yourself,
Mhm.
the confidence comes as you go.
Exactly. And what they say choose your heart, because no matter what you choose to do in life,
If
it's
it's
going
worth
to
it, it's going to be
yeah,
hard.
exactly. So yeah, so I appreciate
This was an
you.
amazing conversation. I
Oh,
really do
thank you.
appreciate you. I hope that we connect more in the
Oh
future.
yeah, absolutely. This time we'll be in Florida.
Yes, we'll be in Florida. I'm glad that we were able to sit and have a conversation with you guys today. I appreciate you for tuning in to the first episode of the Goddesspreneur podcast and talking to this very influential character in my city and a very influential person in my lifestyle as far as entrepreneurship and being a role model as a woman. Thank you,
Thank
Latoy.
you.
I appreciate you so much for
Thank
coming through with
you
me today.
so much. I appreciate it. It
Okay,
was my pleasure
thank
and
you
such
so
an
much.
honor.
Okay, with that said, we're out.